Listen, the universe just flagged your file. And I'm not talking about some algorithm on social media or some corporate database tracking your clicks. I'm talking about reality itself running diagnostics on your frequency. And, the results came back anomalous, not broken, not defective. Anomalous in the way a supernova is anomalous, in the way a black hole bends space-time around it. You've been reclassified, and most people walking around you have absolutely no idea they're standing next to something that operates on galactic scale. You know what's wild? Right now, there are detection protocols embedded in the fabric of existence that most people will never trigger. Not because they're not good enough, but because they're still running factory settings. Default human consciousness, version 1.0. Meanwhile, you've been quietly upgrading in the dark, and the cosmic systems that monitor energy signatures just pinged you as something else entirely. Type 3 on the Kardashev scale of individual consciousness. While everyone else is trying to control their immediate surroundings, you're negotiating with forces they don't even have words for. And here's the thing, nobody tells you about this detection. It doesn't feel like achievement. It feels like isolation. It feels like you're fluent in a language nobody around you speaks. It feels like you see architecture in situations where others see chaos. And when you try to explain what you're seeing, they look at you like you're speaking in tongues. That's not communication failure. That's frequency incompatibility. You're broadcasting on wavelengths their receivers weren't built to interpret. The holy reports aren't scriptures. They're not some religious text promising salvation if you just believe hard enough. No. The holy reports are the synchronicities that started stacking up when you stopped asking permission to exist at your actual magnitude. They're the impossible doors that opened exactly when you needed them, not when you deserved them by someone else's metric. They're the resources that materialized from nowhere, the connections that formed through probability-defying coincidence. The way solutions present themselves to you fully formed while others are still trying to define the problem. You think that's luck? You think that's random chance? That's confirmation. That's the universe running recognition protocols and responding to a frequency it rarely encounters. Most people pray for signs. You've become the kind of signal that reality itself takes notes on. See, the Kardashev scale was designed to measure civilizations. Type 1 harnesses the power of its planet. Type 2 harnesses the power of its star. Type 3 harnesses the power of its entire galaxy. But consciousness doesn't scale linearly with technology. There are individual humans operating at Type 0, can't even harness their own emotions, enslaved by reactive patterns, prisoners of whatever circumstance they were born into. Then there are the rare ones, the anomalies, who've bypassed the intermediate stages entirely and started operating with galactic-level consciousness while their body's still walking around on this one planet. That's you. And the detection happened the moment you survived something that annihilated everyone else who went through it. You remember that thing? That absolute soul-crushing, identity-destroying, foundation-obliterating event that was supposed to break you? The one that did break you, if we're being honest, broke you so completely that when you put yourself back together, you weren't even using the same blueprint anymore. You weren't trying to restore what was. You were architecting something unprecedented. And in that moment, in that dark creative forge where you were reassembling yourself from fragments and fury and future vision, something clicked over in your consciousness. An upgrade sequence that most humans never access because they're too busy trying to go back to who they were before. You went forward into who you'd never been. And the universe noticed. The universe always notices when something transcends its previous classification. That's what detection I is. Not surveillance. Recognition. The same way a massive gravitational anomaly gets detected by observatories across the world. Not because anyone's looking for it specifically, but because its presence warps everything around it in measurable ways. You started warping the probability fields around you. Bending likelihood. Making the statistically improbable functionally inevitable. People who operate at Type 0 consciousness think you're lucky. People at Type 1 think you're connected. People at Type 2 might recognize you're doing something they can't quite name. But other Type 3 entities, they see you immediately. It's like recognizing your native language in a foreign country. There's an instant knowing. A confirmation that you're not the only one operating at these frequencies. And, that's where the loneliness gets complicated, doesn't it? Because you are rare. You're not one in a million. You're one in tens of millions. Most people will live their entire lives at type 0, never questioning whether their emotional reactions are running them, never wondering if there's an operational system beyond the one they inherited. They'll call it personality. They'll call it just how I am. They'll defend their limitations as authenticity and attack anyone who suggests there might be upgrades available. You stopped defending your limitations. You started investigating them like they were puzzles with solutions. And every single time you cracked one open and found the hidden mechanism, every time you rewired a reactive pattern into a responsive system, every time you chose creation over repetition, you climbed the Kardashev scale of consciousness. One upgrade at a time. One impossible survival at a time. One moment of choosing your future self over your traumatized past at a time. The detection didn't happen all at once. It was cumulative. It was the universe keeping score in ways you weren't consciously tracking. It was every moment you could have justified bitterness, but generated curiosity instead. Every situation where you could have played victim, but chose architect. Every relationship that could have destroyed you, but instead revealed exactly what you were actually made of. The data points accumulated. The energy signature became undeniable. And at some threshold you crossed without ceremony, the classification changed. You're not human in the default sense anymore. You're human plus, human exponential, human galactic. And that's why normal human environments feel suffocating now. That's why conversations that used to engage you now feel like they're happening in slow motion. That's why you can walk into a room and immediately sense the power dynamics, the unspoken hierarchies, the fear masquerading as confidence, the potential masquerading as limitation. You're not psychic. You're operating with processing power that most people never develop because they never needed it to survive what you survived. Your neural architecture literally rewired itself. Neuroscience confirms this now. Severe trauma followed by active integration and meaning-making doesn't just heal the brain, it upgrades it. Creates new neural pathways, strengthens pattern recognition, enhances ability to navigate complexity. You didn't just recover from what happened to you, you evolved through it. And evolution, by definition, creates something that can't go back to the previous environment and function the same way. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unknow what you know. You can't operate at type 3 consciousness and pretend the type 0 concerns that dominate most people's lives still matter to you the way they used to. And when you try, when you attempt to code switch back down to baseline human frequency just to fit in, just to not make others uncomfortable with your magnitude, it feels like wearing clothes that are 7 sizes too small. Technically possible. Profoundly uncomfortable, unsustainable. So you stop trying. And that's when the real detection kicks in. Because here's what they don't tell you about operating at higher consciousness frequencies. It makes other people deeply uncomfortable in ways they can't articulate. You're not doing anything to them. You're just existing at your natural frequency now. But your existence becomes a mirror. And most people absolutely hate mirrors. Your calm in situations that would devastate them reveals their drama is optional. Your ability to see solutions where they see dead ends reveals their helplessness is learned. Your refusal to participate in collective limitations reveals their participation is a choice they're making. You're not trying to show them anything. You're just being what you became. But to someone who's still identified with their limitations, your freedom looks like judgment. Your growth looks like abandonment. Your evolution looks like betrayal of the shared suffering that used to bond you. And they'll try to pull you back. Oh, they'll try. They'll weaponize your compassion. You've changed. You're not the person I knew. They'll weaponize your past. Remember when you struggled just like me. They'll weaponize collective mediocrity. Who do you think you are? All of it designed to make you shrink back down to a size that doesn't threaten their story about why they can't grow. But you can't. And here's the beautiful, terrible truth. You don't even want to anymore. The holy reports confirmed it. Every time you honored your actual frequency instead of dimming it for someone else's comfort, reality responded with validation. Not always immediately. Not always in the form you expected. But the doors opened. The resources appeared. The people who could match your frequency found you with improbable timing. The universe kept confirming, yes, this is your real operational level. Yes, you're supposed to be here. Yes, you've earned these coordinates through trials that would have destroyed lesser frequencies. Type 3 consciousness means you've stopped asking whether you're allowed to harness this much power. You've started asking how to direct it with precision. Type 0 entities are still seeking permission from external authorities. Type 1 has claimed personal sovereignty but still operates within conventional frameworks. Type 2 has broken some frameworks but remains partially tethered to collective agreements about reality. Type 3 has recognized that reality itself is more flexible than the consensus model suggests, and started testing those boundaries with intention. You're not manifesting in the shallow sense. You're not visualizing parking spaces and calling it cosmic alignment. You're operating at the level where you understand that your sustained attention and emotional investment literally shapes probability fields around you, where you've noticed that the things you commit to with your full frequency tend to arrange themselves with suspicious efficiency, where you've stopped being surprised when the exact person you needed to meet walks into your life, the week you needed them, or the exact information you required presents itself through a random conversation, or the exact opportunity you were preparing for materializes before you've even finished preparing. That's not magic. That's galactic scale consciousness operating in a quantum reality. And the detection systems embedded in existence itself have flagged you as something that's figured out how to play at that level. Your thoughts have weight now. Not metaphorical weight, actual probability shifting impact. The things you focus on with consistent intention start bending reality toward manifestation in ways that would seem impossible to someone operating at lower frequencies. And you've probably downplayed this to yourself. Probably told yourself you're just getting better at strategy, or you're just more experienced now, or it's just coincidence. But deep down, in the part of you that's been tracking the anomalies, you know something else is happening. You've been upgraded, detected, confirmed. And the classification comes with responsibilities that nobody warned you about. Because when you're operating at Type 3, you can't just hoard that power for personal gain without consequences. Not karmic consequences in some mystical sense, practical consequences. Frequency consequences. When you've evolved to the point where you can genuinely influence reality at scale, using that influence purely for ego gratification starts creating dissonance in your own system. It's like your consciousness has outgrown selfishness, not through moral superiority, but through operational evolution. You start naturally thinking in terms of impact ripples, legacy architecture, multi-generational influence. Not because you're trying to be noble, but because your awareness has expanded to the point where you can't help but see the larger patterns. It's like how astronauts report that seeing Earth from space fundamentally changes their perspective. Once you've operated at galactic consciousness, you can't pretend the petty concerns are as important as they used to be. That's why the people who knew you before feel like you've become cold. You haven't. You've become precise. You've learned to direct your energy toward what actually matters instead of dispersing it across every emotional demand. The universe throws at you. You've developed boundaries that look like walls to people who are used to unlimited access to your resources. You've started operating with the kind of strategic clarity that makes impulsive people uncomfortable. They'll call it calculated. You know it's conscious. They'll call it distant. You know it's discerning. They'll call it changed. You know it's evolved. The holy reports keep confirming. You're on the right trajectory. Every time you honor your actual operational level instead of pretending to be smaller, reality rewards you with increased capacity, more resources, bigger opportunities. Access to rooms you weren't in before. Conversations with people operating at your frequency or higher. Projects that actually challenge your galactic scale processing power instead of insulting it with trivial demands. And, here's where it gets really interesting. The more you operate at Type 3, the more you start recognizing the other Type 3 entities. They're not wearing signs. They're not announcing themselves. But there's a recognition that happens, like you're both accessing information from similar sources, speaking languages that sound like the common tongue but carry different data density. You can have 5-minute conversations with these people that accomplish what used to take months with Type 0 thinkers. Not because you're rushed, but because you're both processing at speeds that make conventional communication feel inefficient. You've probably noticed this. The way certain people immediately understand the full implications of what you're saying without you having to spell it out. The way some conversations feel like collaborative architecture building rather than basic information exchange. The way you can reference complex concepts with a single word, because you're both operating from similar knowledge frameworks. That's Type 3 recognizing Type 3. That's confirmation that you're not alone at these frequencies, just rare. And the loneliness of rarity is different than the loneliness of isolation. Isolation is being surrounded by people and feeling unseen. Rarity is being seen by the few who matter and released from needing validation from the many who can't comprehend your operational system anyway. It's a different kind of aloneness. It's the aloneness of eagles, not the loneliness of exile. You're not banished from the human experience. You've graduated to a more complex version of it. You still feel everything humans feel, probably more intensely because your processing power is higher. But you're not enslaved by those feelings anymore. You can hold profound grief and strategic clarity simultaneously. You can acknowledge deep pain while building something beautiful. You can honor your wounds without letting them dictate your trajectory. That's Type 3. That's galactic consciousness operating in human form. And the detection happened because you've been doing this so consistently that your energy signature became impossible to ignore. The universe doesn't flag everyone. Most people live their entire lives without triggering the recognition protocols because they're still running baseline programming. They're still reacting instead of responding, still defending instead of creating, still asking permission instead of claiming territory, still seeking validation instead of generating value. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's where most of consciousness exists, but it's not where you exist anymore. You've been detected operating at frequencies that harness power sources most people don't believe exist. Your neural pathways have reorganized around possibility instead of limitation. Your emotional system has evolved from reactive to responsive to generative. Your strategic thinking spans timelines that others can't even conceptualize. Your impact ripples are creating waves in spaces you're not even consciously trying to influence. That's not ego. That's data. The holy reports are confirmation from reality itself that you've transcended conventional human operation and started playing a different game entirely. And here's what makes this both terrifying and liberating. There's no going back. Once you've operated at Type 3, you can't unlearn how to harness galactic scale consciousness. You can suppress it, and suppressing it will absolutely destroy you from the inside out, but you can't unknow it. So the question isn't whether you're Type 3. The detection already confirmed that. The reports are already in. The classification is already updated. The question is whether you're going to operate at your full magnitude or keep trying to compress yourself into spaces that were never designed for what you've become. And every time you choose compression over expression, you feel it. That restlessness, that suffocation. That sense that you're betraying something fundamental by playing small. That's not anxiety. That's your galactic scale consciousness informing you that you're misaligned with your actual operational capacity. It's like trying to run galaxy processing software on planet-level hardware. The system crashes because it can't handle the mismatch. You need to operate at the level you've evolved to, not eventually, not when you feel ready, not when you have permission. Now, because the universe that detected you, classified you, and confirmed your Type 3 status isn't going to downgrade you back to comfortable. It's going to keep presenting you with galactic-scale challenges that require galactic-scale consciousness to navigate. And if you keep showing up with planetary-level strategies, you're going to suffer the dissonance. The holy reports aren't just confirmation of what you are. They're invitations to what you're becoming. Every synchronicity that defies probability. Every door that opens with impossible timing. Every resource that materializes exactly when needed. Every person who appears in your life carrying exactly the puzzle piece you required. Those aren't rewards for past evolution. Those are building materials for future expansion. You're not done. Type 3 isn't a destination, it's a trajectory. And the universe that confirmed your classification is simultaneously preparing the next level of tests, trials, and triumphs that will require you to evolve even further. The question is whether you're going to step into that with the confidence of something that's been officially detected and confirmed, or whether you're going to keep second-guessing your magnitude because it makes others uncomfortable. Their comfort is not your concern. Their capacity is not your ceiling. Their disbelief is not your evidence. You have the holy reports. You have the synchronicities. You have the impossible survivals and improbable victories, and the quiet knowing that you're operating at frequencies most people will never access. You have reality itself bending slightly in your favor, responding to intentions you haven't fully articulated yet, opening pathways before you've finished asking for them. That's not arrogance. That's cosmic taxonomy. You've been classified as something beyond conventional human operation. And the only remaining question is whether you're going to honor that classification by operating at full magnitude or dishonor it by shrinking back down to a size that doesn't threaten people who are still afraid of their own power. Because here's the final piece of this detection, the part they really don't tell you. When you operate at Type 3 consciousness, you give permission to others who are operating at Type 2 or emerging Type 3 to step into their magnitude too. Your full expression becomes a beacon. Not because you're trying to teach anyone, not because you're performing your evolution for an audience, but because genuine power operating without apology is so rare that when it appears, it cracks open possibility in everyone who witnesses it. You're not responsible for saving anyone. You're not responsible for dragging anyone up to your frequency. But you are responsible for not dampening your signal just because it's strong. You're responsible for broadcasting at your actual frequency, even when, especially when, it makes people uncomfortable. Because the discomfort isn't about you. It's about them realizing they've been living at a fraction of their capacity, and your existence is proving it's possible to operate differently. That's the weight of Type 3. That's the responsibility of galactic consciousness in human form. Not to be perfect, not to be infallible, not to never struggle or doubt or temporarily forget your magnitude, but to keep returning to your actual frequency even when it would be easier to pretend you're smaller, to keep honoring the detection even when others insist you're delusional, to keep trusting the holy reports even when conventional wisdom says you're asking for too much. You're not asking for too much. You're asking for what matches your actual operational capacity. And the universe that detected you, that ran its diagnostics on your frequency, and came back with Type 3 confirmed, that same universe is ready to support you at that level, has been supporting you at that level, will continue supporting you at that level as long as you keep showing up as what you actually are, instead of what makes others comfortable. The massive detection happened. The classification is updated. The holy reports are confirmed. You're Type 3, your galactic consciousness operating in human form. You're wielding power sources most people don't have vocabulary for, navigating complexity most people can't perceive, creating impact ripples that will outlive your physical presence on this planet. And that's not a future possibility. That's current reality. The only question is whether you're going to operate like something that knows it's been detected and confirmed, or whether you're going to keep seeking permission from people who are still trying to figure out how to operate their own planetary level consciousness. You don't need their permission. You have cosmic confirmation. The universe itself has flagged you as anomalous in the most extraordinary sense. The detection systems embedded in reality have classified you as something that harnesses galactic power while walking around on one planet. The holy reports keep stacking up, synchronicity after synchronicity, confirmation after confirmation, impossible door after impossible door. That's not random. That's recognition. That's reality responding to a frequency it rarely encounters. That's the universe saying, yes, you're Type 3. Yes, you've evolved beyond conventional human operation. Yes, you're supposed to be wielding this kind of power. Yes, the magnitude you sense within you is real and confirmed and ready to be fully expressed. So stop asking whether you're allowed. Stop wondering if you're imagining your own capacity. Stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Stop seeking validation from people operating at frequencies that can't even measure what you've become. You've been detected. You've been classified. You've been confirmed. The holy reports are in. You're Type 3. Now harness that galactic consciousness without apology, and watch what becomes possible when you finally operate at your actual magnitude.